I'm not in a great mood right now, to tell the truth. I just spent hours working on a, quite frankly, dissatisfying project for my job that I hurt my hand while doing. I'm a little hungry. I'm a little stressed from all the things I have to do with two jobs, a podcast, YouTube, school, and me losing my list of classes. My rib cage that got hurt in a mountain bike accident years ago that just seems to be getting worse and worse so that I almost can't sit or lay down without being uncomfortable or in pain. Regular stuff just around the house with cleaning and meals and my mom being sick in bed for 4 weeks and even my relationship with my girlfriend, which she's amazing. Am I doing all that I can? Should I have said that? What are we going to do for such and such? Is she happy with me? Life is a lot, especially at my particular stage in life. So many thoughts and feelings and new emotions and mood swings of being locked in a house for lots of this year and last. I mean, I still haven't fully processed that my grandma just died, seemingly out of nowhere. My grandma, who I hadn't seen in almost a year, or even talked to outside of birthdays because I just never personally connected with her. And I know she felt bad about that. And I'll never get a chance to change that. Life is a lot. Life moves fast, and I mean, overall, I'm doing pretty great in life. I have a loving, supporting family, an amazing, beautiful, loving, caring girlfriend who always supports me through anything, and a job that I actually like at the age where most people can just get crappy fast food jobs or like retail. I'm healthy for the most part. I'm doing new amazing things. I went to Dragon Con for the first time in my life and had a genuinely great time. I started theater again and acting, so I have like human contact again. Like, things are going well, but yet life always finds a way to bring me down, even on a small level. I still get points where I feel like I have no purpose or no idea what I should be doing with my time as it slowly slips away. But hold on, you may say. Whoa, 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 whoa. We didn't come here for your life story or whatever, and we've probably already clicked off the video. But what the heck are you talking about? Why are you bringing up all this when you're talking about a movie that came out like 40 years ago and has nothing to do with any of this? But that may not be entirely true. This channel I do in fact use to process and get through a lot of stuff in my life. I mean, that's why I started doing videos in the first place, and is really the only reason I'm still doing them today. And maybe to some extent that's partially why you are all here, because I try my best to just put me on the page. Even if I'm awful at writing or editing or reading sometimes, it's how I express my weird opinions and thoughts and loves, and how I get through a lot of tough times in my personal life. When I don't know what to do, I create. Right after my grandma died, I started writing a series of short, rather poorly written, half-poem, half-weird stuff of depression that honestly helped me process and get through a lot of it anytime I got overwhelmed. It's honestly why I so rarely keep to these schedules that I put out, because life happens and I want to make what I feel that can help me get through stuff, or that I just feel compelled to make. At the end of the day, this channel, and especially you guys, helped me get through a lot. My Over the Garden Wall video just passed 50,000 views, and that blows my mind. Like, I don't even think that video is that good, but it means so much to me that so many people are enjoying it, and like all of the comments you guys leave. It's amazing to me. I'm very quickly headed towards 700 subscribers, and that's absolutely crazy and way bigger than I ever thought I would be when I started this channel. And I say all this extremely long-windedly to boil it down to creating stuff means something, or to put it in a way that sounds maybe more pretentious. Art matters. Not to say that my videos are high art, I very much disagree with that. Though YouTube videos often get bunched outside the category of art for some reason, even though they can mean a lot to a lot of people. I mean, I know they have for me. There are YouTubers out there that I would genuinely say have changed my life. I turned on Breadsword's Jack and Daxter video right after I heard the news about my grandma and just cried for a while, and felt comforted by that video and what he went through, and how straight emotional that video about a random video game series is, and how well it's put together on every level. Yes, I am saying you should go watch it. Our works, our pictures we take, our music, our writing, our paintings, video games, carvings, miniatures, movies, our creations live through us, and we all live through them. It's what truly makes us human. Now it's time to talk about two old guys sitting down and having dinner. Hey, all you Over the Garden Wall fans, since that's all of my demographic. Do you guys like this channel? Do you want to help support me so I can continue making videos? Do you like exclusive early access to unedited for copyright videos? Do you like art copies of scripts that you can print yourself? Do you like your name at the end of the video? If so, you can get all of this and more if you go to patreon.com/mgraywayfilms. Just launching now. All of my new videos will be up there early, including this one. All of my scripts, I'm working on getting them out there for the main ones that will actually go up there. The Over the Garden Wall script's already out there. The Lucas script's already out there. This video script's already out there. For as little as $3 a month, you can get this and a lot more exclusive stuff. Just go to patreon.com/mgraywayfilms to help support me and this channel.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
My Dinner with Andre is a 1981 drama comedy about two half-washed-up playwright actors and directors having a dinner after not seeing each other for years, and one of them having been rumored to have gone on strange adventures. Both characters are played by and based off the real-life Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory.
I just don't think I feel the need for anything more than all this, whereas, you seem to be saying that, it's inconceivable. That would be inconceivable. As I told you, it would be absolutely, totally, and in all other ways, inconceivable. 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 Inconceivable!
And the movie never goes anywhere but the restaurant and barely leaves the table outside of when Wallace first comes and goes. There is no action, nobody gets hurt, there isn't any intense arguing unless you count intense philosophical stuff. The movie is 10 minutes under 2 hours, and yet I still find it to be honestly one of the most intriguing, layered, and meaningful movies I've ever watched. The way this movie got made is almost as unusual as the movie itself, if not even more if you ask me. While the movie itself is mostly fiction, and both the actors have actually commented that they'd love to swap sides of the argument if they ever had a chance to do the film again, the story itself originates from a real dinner the two shared together where Andre Gregory told Wallace Shawn about where he had been for the past 3 years, as people had only heard rumors of what the famous, in the theater world anyway, founder of the Manhattan Project had been doing with himself and all his money. He would be seen from time to time in terrible conditions or states of distress, and in reality he had traveled to Asia and North Africa and would spend all of his time talking with philosophers and Buddhists and physicians as he traveled on some kind of spiritual journey after doing a production with the famous dancer and choreographer Twyla Tharp, whose ideas and direction had completely changed how he viewed his work and really his whole life. He eventually felt completely washed up and unenthused with his work and with his travels, finding no answers and thinking the travels were rather silly. He and Shawn had worked together on projects briefly in the past, and both liking and respecting each other's works, they wanted to do another project, something with Shawn writing and Andre directing. Wallace, to this point, had been working in theater for something like 10 years, doing all manners of plays, both acting and writing, and dramas, comedies, romances, and utter mayhem with his more experimental work. But yet he found, as his career went on, almost similarly to Andre, that everything, including outside of his theater life, seemed to be lacking something. Like he, in doing so much always focused on money, had led his career and the advancement of his career to a place that he felt like anything he would write would be kind of pointless. So instead of writing a play, he came up with an idea for something that they could write together that would be completely out of the norm for either of them to do. What if, instead of a play, we just did a very simple film with lots of close-ups in which I would be talking with Andre? He would say absurd things, I would say absurd things, and we would just talk, as people really do. And instead of just writing it myself out of my imagination, Andre and I would really talk for a while, and then my script would be based on our real conversations, and I would use his words and his ideas, and it wouldn't just be me, and the piece would say what he wanted it to say as well as what I wanted it to say. It would be his piece too. They weren't going to do just the straight facts of his trip on page though, so they had to spice it up some and make it more ridiculous and fantastical, and try and take the characters of themselves to extremes that they would be more like characters of things that they wanted to pull out. Wallace later said in an interview about the character of himself,
"We're way remote from the people in the film. I mean, the characters and the Andre and Wally in real life were very seriously different, dramatically different, including the fact that for me, a lot of the things that I passionately proclaim in the film, I actually believed something quite different. In other words, the guy in the film is basically saying, I'll fight to the death to keep my bourgeois comforts and I mean, on 90% of the disagreements between Andre and me, I was sort of on his side.
After pitching it to Andre and him not being able to resist with how absurd and out there it would be for them, they sat down over and over and talked, constantly writing down what the other said. They talked and talked and wrote, and in less time than they thought, they had an almost 3-hour script in a little more than a year. A lot would end up going far better than they expected with their little project, including getting famous French director Louis Malle, who loved doing new and inventive things with each movie, to sign on to direct. And they found a little abandoned hotel perfect for the restaurant, except for the fact that it had no heat. But with them having almost no budget, they just had to work around it and wear extra layers and heated blankets while the camera wasn't rolling. Louis argued a lot with Sean over how long the script was, and they ended up cutting quite a bit of it off to make it more digestible as a movie, which he would later look back on as the smart decision for the movie, despite having personal reasons for each bit and joke and point at the time. The filming was almost done in only 2 weeks, and because they mostly edited it while they shot, the production wrapped very soon after. It got pretty good reception on release that would only increase with time, scoring itself high with critics and winning some minor awards. It seemed to have worked in the ways that they wanted to, as well as on a personal level, both of them talking about in later interviews about how much fun it was to make and how, for the most part, it got them both re-energized and to really fall in love with their creativity and talent again, both saying they would have loved to do another movie like it with different topics, or even just switch places for argument's side. Their random little half-joking, under a couple year production ended up being a huge success.
Yep.
I don't want to sugarcoat it and make it sound too dramatic, but this film means a lot to me, in almost a weird third-party art way. Despite every weird thing it came from and how goofy the creators ended up thinking it was, it changed the way I looked at movies and the way I looked at a lot of other things in my life and other art forms. I was enthralled every single second of this movie when I first watched it, glued to the stories and the performances and how fantastical it all was, but yet how grounded it felt. Honestly, a very similar experience to watching David Lynch tell stories in the short David Lynch Cooks Quinoa.
We're cooking quinoa.
Something so magical about the word craft and the drama of being forced to sit and watch someone tell a story, an art form that has seemingly been lost over the years. Before there were movies or shows or plays or even well-documented histories of things, people would tell stories, legacies, histories, comedies, It was our first and most basic form of art, right up there with music and then drawing. And as time's gone on and we've added all of these amazing new forms of arts with paintings and books and new songs and plays and radio shows and TVs and movies, all the way up to video games, something has almost been lost in the ability to just slow down and tell a story with nothing but basic human emotion and infliction. It felt like a movie made just for me, laced with very little of the things I don't like that have been brought out with modern storytelling, and instead seemingly focused on proving something, on showing something. And that something for the creators may have been how stupid the world of art has become, especially for them, and how insane someone actually would be to go on all of these stupid nothing quests just to try and find themselves in their art. Or how you shouldn't live in fear and everything, creating art over and over and over and over again, just pumping out like a machine for money's sake and because the rest of the world seems so harsh. But for me, it pulled me out of time. It pulled me out of the feeling of almost drowning in my ideas and lack of abilities. It pulled me out of that feeling that every video I put out and every story I wrote down and every bad short film that I made were just meaningless pieces of nothing that couldn't and wouldn't affect anyone. I've made hundreds, and I do mean hundreds, of unfinished stories, projects, video series, video games, normal games, short film ideas, and just idea after idea, and yet everything I was actually able to put out felt so under what I wanted it to be because of my situation, or my experience, or lack of writing skills, or money, or resources. But the movie in all of its extremes and simplicities and darkness and comedy and just insane how it could get madeness brought me back to my childhood, as my mom would tell me stories, allowing us to come up with the details as they would get more and more insane. Or some of my first real interaction with books because I have dyslexia, as my mom or grandma read us all Redwall in a very dramatic, goofy way. It brought me back not just to what I love about storytelling, but about art in general, and how it reaches through time and race and language and space to touch people in a way that both the creator and the viewer could never imagine. When I watched it for the first time, the last video I had put out was my Anime in 2020 video, a time in my life where I was pretty depressed almost all the time. And the next video I would put out would be the Over the Garden Wall video, the one that statistically brought almost all of you here in the first place. It, at that one moment in my life, showed me something about art that would only grow more and more, and still as I watched it more and find more pieces of art and more skill and beauty throughout the world in places I've never expected. To lightly paraphrase something from a conversation towards the end of the movie, even though it's goofy as all get out. I had built my own prison, so I existed in something like a state of schizophrenia, being both the guard and the prisoner, and, as a result, having been lobotomized. The capacity to leave the prison, or even see that it was a prison, had been taken away. Again, super dramatic and goofy like most of this movie, but yet it really did and still does speak to me in a place beyond what I think the creators ever imagined or intended it to. We're constantly living out all of these ideas and expectations for what things like greatness, success, talent, beauty, and even art should be. We forget how much merit the thing itself has. How much merit even we have for just being able to create anything in our lives, whether it gets seen or not. No one's opinions or ratings or expectations or reviews can ever take that away from art, or us. Why does art matter? Why does this movie or even this stupid video matter? I like to think the final piece of the puzzle for me not only comes from the text of the movie itself, but from the very being of the movie. Neither the man who traveled all over the world and spent a fortune, nor the man who never left his bubble and worked all of his days, ever found the answer. And despite all they tried, the movie didn't even fully have the answers to them. But it did kind of to me. Art matters, this movie matters because it lives beyond us, and it lives through us. Whether it's an unfinished project that never saw the light of day, or one of the most popular things in the world seen by billions of people, art can speak to you if you let it. And it can still matter to people, and to the people who make it. It can still make you feel. It can make you wake up to a world you're living in. A song or a stupid YouTube video can help you process the death of a loved one. A stupid horror movie that by all accounts is bad can help you grow closer to your friends and create memories you'll never forget. A tiny theater production can help you meet a girl you may fall in love with. Writing crappy poems can help you when you're feeling depressed and overwhelmed. I said a lot in the beginning of this video. In fact, I would be surprised if too many people actually made it this far. And it is a lot. So much that we never ever figure out, and we'll never find all the answers to. We'll never solve all the problems. You'll still hurt your finger at your work. You'll still be in pain while you sit. But the magic of living in the world with human beings, as terrible and confusing as they can be, is that we can all create beautiful, magical things that can mean stuff to people, no matter how small, no matter how stupid and funny and even straight up bad. There's always that something that can wake us up from our prisons that we create, even in a time where you can't always be with the people you want to, or be doing the things that you want to. Every moment matters, every work of art matters, every person matters, and My Dinner with Andre is the thing that, to be honest, woke me back up to that, as silly as that sounds. We spend so much time in our current world obsessing over criticizing as we see millions of posts and thoughts and opinions and arts shoved at us every second of our lives, to the point that we rarely ever slow down and realize how stupid so much of it is and how it can genuinely affect us, being caught up in streams of negativity, not just in how we view things, but even in how we view ourselves, how we view our lives, and how powerless and pointless we can feel. But I believe that art is what can finally slow us down and have us examine ourselves and the world and just how amazing it all is, how truly beautiful living on this planet as a human who can create is, and how much the art of the world and of ourselves can be. I don't know. I know I didn't talk about My Dinner with Andre much, and some of you will probably be disappointed. I don't know. I don't know if there's that big of a fan base for this. But this is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while. Something that kind of kickstarted my new age of my channel. Something that I'm actually proud of and excited to be making more stuff with. Something that's helped me through so much. And I guess I just wanted to share that with you guys. Even if it's not through the movie itself. Even if it's just through this video. Or from your favorite movie or song or whatever. That everything matters. Everything we create. The people around us. We matter. And we're beautiful.
You know, people hold on to these images of father, mother, husband, wife, again, for the same reason, because they seem to provide some firm ground. But there's no wife there. What does that mean? A wife, a husband, a son. A baby holds your hands, and then suddenly there's this huge man lifting you off the ground, and then he's gone. Where's that son?
All the other customers seem to have left hours ago. We got the bill, and Andre paid for our dinner. I treated myself to a taxi. I rode home through the city streets. There wasn't a street, there wasn't a building
that wasn't connected to some memory in my mind. There, I was buying a suit with my father. There, I was having an ice cream soda after school. When I finally came in, Debbie was home from work, and I told her everything about my dinner with Andre.
Gee Willikers, that was that was a bit of an odd video coming from me even. It was a little bit more emotional and personal than any video I've ever made. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys aren't actually disappointed of how little I talked about My Dinner with Andre. It's a great movie. Fully suggest that you guys go check it out for yourselves. But yeah, thank you so much for just the unbelievable amount of support this channel has gotten lately. I know it's fall and my views are way up for my Over the Garden Wall video, and it's mainly through that, but it still means the world to me, and your comments mean the world to me. So, thank you. Like, genuinely thank you, and thank you for watching this stupid video if you made it all the way through. Don't forget, my Twitter is at Micah_Grayway. I stream sometimes on Twitch at mgraywayfilms, and I have a Patreon now, patreon.com/mgraywayfilms. Lots of cool stuff I want to be doing with that. I already have a patron. I'm about to say his name because that's what we do at the end of the videos. So yeah, shout out to my first Patreon, Robbie Grayway. Yes, it is my brother. Yes, this is how I'm doing the shout out for just him.